And let's begin this hour in KwaZulu-Natal. Former President Jacob Zuma's daughter, Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla, is today expected to appear in the Durban Magistrate's Court. Her appearance is believed to be connected to the 2021 July unrest. SABC News Reporter Simphiwe Makhanya, part of our team watching developments for us in Durban, and joins us now live. And as expected, several Umkhonto we Party members have already arrived, including some of Duduzile's close family members.
Indeed, the entire leadership of the Umkhonto we Ayanda is actually behind me as I'm going to step out of the shot and allow my colleague Sbu Dembe just to give you a sense of who is here. You see there in your visuals Mr. Duduzile Zuma, who is a sibling to Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla. And of course, there also you see the Secretary General of the Umkhonto we Mr. Floyd Shibambu, as well as Mr. Ntlego, who's also part of the leadership that's come here to support Duduzile Zuma as she prepares to actually face the charges, Ayanda, which relate to the 2021 July unrest. But of course, let's get a sense, Ayanda, of really the nature of the charges and speak to the spokesperson of the Hawks, that's Brigadier Mbambo, who's going to talk to us about what exactly are the charges that the Hawks are going to be preferring against the accused.
Thank you very much. The charges that we're going to confer upon the accused is the charges under the Pogdatara Act, as well as charges of incitement to public violence.
The timing of these charges has been questioned by a lot of people. I'm sure you'd understand why. Looking at the incident which happened in 2021, it's now 2025. Why did it take you so long?
You will remember that each case has its own merit, this one included. So far we have about 68 people that we have arrested that were involved in the same incident. Now what happens with this case is that it was incited through social media, which now necessitates the involvement of cyber. Now the investigation becomes a very complicated one, because now we have to rope in a number of external stakeholders, we have to rope in a number of expertise, which at the end of the day we have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that whoever posted on the timeline of the accused is indeed the accused and not anybody else. So we do not just take it on face value that because something is posted on a person's timeline or on a person's handle, now that is the particular person that posted there. So it takes a lot of time to bring all the evidence together that will ultimately confirm that the person is the one indeed that posted whatever that is posted in the social media.
Are you confident, though, that the evidence that you are going to be presenting in court is going to be sufficient in order for you to obtain a conviction?
We are indeed confident, because as much as all our investigations are prosecution guided, so this one as well is prosecution guided. With all the evidence that has been gathered, a prosecutor was part of this so as to provide guidance into what is needed to make sure that the case stands in court. So the case was referred numerous times to the DPP, who necessitated or confirmed at the end of the day that enough evidence has been gathered to stand trial. Hence now we are seeing this case in court today.
Is the accused now officially arrested?
The accused is now officially arrested and she's currently being processed so that she can be able to appear in court.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That's the national spokesperson of the Hawks, Ayanda, Brigadier Mbambo. I'm going to ask my colleague Sbu Dembe to walk with me as, of course, we see the convoy carrying the former president of the country, who's the leader of the Umkhonto we that's Mr. Jacob Zuma. There, coming out of the vehicle, you see him being welcomed by the Secretary General of the Umkhonto we as well as the provincial convener of the party here in KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Willis Mchunu, as well as the national spokesperson of the party, Mr. Ndlela. Of course, the accused, as you have just heard there from the spokesperson of the Hawks, saying that she presented herself this morning at the Durban Central Police Station, where she is currently being processed with regards to the charges that she's going to be, facing. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible to try and get a word. I see the members of the Umkhonto we are now making their way inside the court. But let's try and steal a moment from the family member, that's Mr. Edward Zuma, who's also here to support Duduzile Zuma. Let me try and see if I can get Mr. Zuma. Mr. Zuma, you are live on SABC News, sir. As the family, how do you respond to these charges?
Well, personally, I haven't seen or heard all of them, but in the league that I've seen, I think they are ludicrous charges. They are just bitter people who cannot get enough of my family, and it is high time that they stop all this nonsense. We know what the target is. The target is not my sister. We know who they are targeting, and they are not going to pass. You know, I always say they must stop hunting an eagle using a dog. Yes.
When the former president announced the formation of the Umkhonto weSizwe Party, you were one of the people who said you are not going to join the MK Party. Instead, you are going to stay an ANC member. Are you still an ANC member?
I am still an ANC member, a very active ANC member, and fortunately, I'm not here as ANC. I'm here as a family to support my baby sister.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Edward Zuma there, Ayanda, speaking to us really about his presence here in terms of coming to support Duduzile Zuma, who we now know is being charged in connection with the 2021 July unrest. That really caused a great deal of destruction across the province of KwaZulu-Natal and, of course, the province of Gauteng, leaving a trail of destruction. And as a matter of fact, economists are estimating that the entire destruction which was caused by the July unrest is over 50 billion rand. Let me step out of the shot once more and give our viewers a sense of what is currently happening. You see there, people are now beginning to make their way inside the courtroom. This is the entrance to the High Court, Ayanda. The entrance to the Magistrate Court is on the other side of the building, and I can certainly tell you that that particular entrance is packed by supporters of Umkhonto weSizwe Party, who are anticipating, of course, the commencement of this case. Over to you, Ayanda.
All right, Simphiwe Makhanya is part of our team there outside the Durban Magistrates Court in KwaZulu-Natal. It's amazing how quickly stories sometimes develop. In just that short time that we were there for you, we've seen the former president arrive in Jacob Zuma. He, of course, moved swiftly inside the Magistrates Court. No doubt, the anticipation now is that he may very well have a word or two just after proceedings. The story, of course, is around Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla, who's been arrested, as you've heard there, in connection with the July 2021 unrest. And in some quarters of society, she became extremely notorious for, in some instances, being seen to flame or rather fan the flames of that violence. I mean, the hashtag she had been using at the time was Free Jacob Zuma. I remember a particular tweet that she had sent out where she says to particular people in KwaZulu-Natal that we see you in the wake of the destruction of property at that time. It's a moment in the country's democratic evolution that I think we're going to speak about for quite some time. Books have already been written about those 8 days in July. I think that's one of the titles for one of them. And because of that, there's going to be a very keen interest to see how this particular case unfolds. In a context, by the way, where the South African Human Rights Commission mentioned that even though they weren't able to link the violence to what actually took place insofar as the arrest of the former president is concerned, they do believe that this violence was orchestrated by, quote unquote, very well-resourced individuals. Those people, of course, are yet to be named in some instances, and I think people will make their own inferences about whom those individuals may very well be. But that's the situation, as you can see, outside the Magistrates Court. We'll get you a sense of how the case itself proceeds inside court as soon as it starts.